Oh, good morning. Mic check, checkity check, check. We're good. Cool. Hey, so good morning. We are going over our fourth lecture today. Exciting. This is another quick one, and yet it is very important. We're learning adjectives. Now, these are important because not only are we going to see them right now with nouns, we're going to see them again later with participles. So we really want to take our time on this. This is going to be important. You should have already read the lecture or the book. So now that you've done your chapter reading, we're going to review. I have a special resource for you that I created for adjectives that I hope you find helpful. And then make sure you practice. Practice in the workbook is going to be really important for solidifying the content. Making sure you work through and practice the concepts so that, it sticks. That's the point, right? You want it to be able to stick. Yeah, so there we go. We'll go ahead and dive in. What have we learned so far? We've learned nouns. We've learned the basic structures of Greek. We've learned the 2-1-2 case-ending declension styles. So we're going to take all of that information and apply it to adjectives now. And adjectives are the spice of Greek, I guess. They're what add color. I guess that's a pun. Because colors are adjectives, or can be. So, but you get the idea. It makes it fun, right? So far, it's been fairly dry, just dealing with nouns. Now we're getting into something more fun. When we get to verbs, then it becomes even way more fun, but for now, we have to suffice with the adjectives, all right? So let's dive in here. Okay. So before we get into adjectives, we are going over prepositions. They are important. Prepositions do govern the case of its object. En avto. En is dative. And as you saw last week with the Yoda subscript, avto is dative. So the preposition causes the prepositional phrase or the object of the preposition to follow suit. Okay? This is like pinochle. You got to follow suit. Some prepositions do have multiple case uses. Dia, for example, can mean through in the genitive, or it can mean on account of in accusative. So then it becomes, okay, what are we dealing with? What's the context? Look for the clues. What is the object of the preposition? See what case it is in, and then work your way backwards. Now, prepositions usually modify a verb. The example here, o logos erchete iston kosmon. The word is coming into the world. So the preposition is iston kosmon. It is accusative. It's modifying erchete, the verb. In this case, it's a spatial usage, to come into. So you have to look and see what's it correlating with. Is it modifying a verb? Usually it is. And then look at how it's being used to determine meaning and help that with your interpretation. Because all translation is interpretation. Now, prepositional phrases may be preceded by the article. They don't have to be, but they can be. So here we have an example. Elalison ton logon tis enti ikia. The article tone, logon, that's our noun. and then tis, nt-ikia. Tis, nt-ikia. So you have the modifier article, noun, article, modifier. Now the modifier is the prepositional phrase. In this case, it's modifying the head noun, not the verb. Okay? So you can tell because of the construction, the syntax, article, noun, article, modifier. All right? When you see that, it's no longer modifying the verb, it's modifying the head noun. You can also see substantives where you have an article plus a prepositional phrase and they kind of stand apart. They're not tied to another noun. They're not tied to a verb. It's a prepositional phrase behaving like a noun. It's a substantive. You can also have dependent clauses. So you have prepositional phrases. You also have dependent clauses. Two key markers of dependent clause are ina and ot. They're referred to as ina clauses. They're referred to as ot clauses. Now, these are dependent. They're not independent, so they rely on another verb. They may have their own verb, but it is not the main verb of the sentence because these clauses are dependent. They cannot stand on their own. Therefore, if you see a verb following one of these conjunctions, it is not the main verb of the sentence. And additionally, if you see a nominative noun following one, it is not the main noun of the sentence either, so it's not the subject. Okay, you almost want to put them in parentheses. Almost. Not quite. But for the sake of just understanding the context and the flow, what's the main part, what's not the main part, it might be useful to put them in parentheses or maybe brackets. Do something you want there. But understand, they do not stand apart. They rely on the other components of the sentence. Another loose end here, to be. This is eİmī, right? This is our main verb, I am. eİmī. It's a me verb. We'll get to that way down the road in like week 25, 24, something like that. But you need to know it now because you're going to see it so frequently. You need to understand what it is. It is the present active indicative, eİmī, I am. It is a verb. Now, it is special in that it uses a predicate nominative. Look at the example. Theos estin Kyrios. God is Lord. Kyrios is nominative singular. But wait, it's the object of the sentence. That's because eİmī uses a predicate nominative, which is to say, in the predicate, it also uses a subject. And that's because it's referring back to itself, essentially. God is Lord. So just be aware of that. When you're dealing with eİmī, you're going to see, often you're going to see more than one subject. And so you'll need to rely on context, especially. Usually the first one is the subject, the second one is the object. But again, because it's a predicate nominative, it is referring back to the subject. So this is what to be looks like. eİmī in the present active indicative, first singular, second singular, third singular, first plural, second plural, and third plural. This is how we're going to break down verbs from now on. First singular, second singular, third singular, so on and so forth. We'll get into other aspects of verbs later, but for now, this is the bare bones of what you need to understand for eİmī. So we have eİmī, I am, you are, estin or esti, estin or esti, where it has a movable nu. Sometimes it can drop out, sometimes it's there. So it could be he, she, or it is. Esmen, we are. Este, you all are. Or isin. Why do I have a final sigma in there? That should be a regular sigma. I don't know why I put that in there. They are. Okay? So understand these. You might want to memorize these. maybe put them on flashcards, separate flashcards, so that you can instantly identify them for now. Also, here is the aorist active indicative, which is to say a past tense active indicative of eīmī. And it has a slightly different form, but you're going to see this one a lot in the third singular, so you might as well memorize it now. We will cover it again later when we go over aorist. Eīn, third singular, he, she, it was. All right, here's the moment we've all been waiting for, and that's adjectives. These are super fun, and we're going to go over them now, and I have a special resource for you too. So an adjective is any word modifying a noun or pronoun. There's the attributive adjective. This is an adjective that gives a quality or an attribute, hence the name attributive, to the head noun. There's also the substantival adjective. This is an adjective functioning as though it were a noun. This is because it doesn't modify any other noun. It stands apart. It's kind of like its own independent clause within a noun phrase or a sentence, where it doesn't modify anything else. Then there's the predicate adjective. This is an adjective that asserts something about the subject, and it usually implies or does actually use eīmī, to be. Okay? So you can have a predicate adjective where it's functioning in the object, saying something about the subject, and then you either have to supply or it's already there, to be. So here's my handy-dandy adjectival phrase chart. It's a flow chart. You start at the top, answer the question, and follow the lead. So does the adjective have an article? If there's no article present, then you move to the right, into the red triangles. Is there a head noun? If there's no head noun and no article, then it appears to be substantival. It stands apart, and you would probably say the good or a good, depending on the context. Now, if there is no head noun and there's no article, if there is a head noun but no article, then you have to ask the question, does to be need to be supplied? If yes, it's probably predicate. The man is good. If no, then it's probably attributive. The good man. Okay, so that's the right side of the flowchart. The left side, when you ask the question, does the adjective have an article? Yes, there is an article. Okay, then we ask, is there a head noun? So if there is a head noun, well, let's start with no. There's no head noun. So there is an article, but no head noun. We've arrived at substantival. So it could be the good or a good. When the article is present, it's probably going to be the good. Now, if there is an article and there is a head noun, then we need to ask, is the adjective immediately preceded by the article? If no, it's probably predicate. If yes, it's probably attributive. So this is a helpful workflow when looking at adjectives. Remember, as a translator, you are a detective. You need to look for clues in syntax, even in word order. Okay, you need to look at the case endings. You need to look to see what is present, what is not present. This helps you work through all of those features for adjectives. And then you don't have to memorize it necessarily, but be very familiar with it. And if you need to, be able to look it up. Okay, but this is really helpful for interpreting and understanding adjectives. So let's talk about the attributive adjective. Again, we're going to revisit these with the participles when we get into verbs. So this is important. This is foundation laying. Keep that in mind. So an attributive adjective is one that modifies another noun or a noun. It will agree with the noun it modifies in case, number, and gender. Okay? That's just like the definite article. It agrees in case, number, and gender. Now, if the article is present, it must precede the adjective. So the article must come first if it's going to be an attributive adjective. There are 3 attributive positions. Be familiar with these. The first is article, adjective, head noun. O agathos anthropos, the good man. This is the most literal one for English translations, clean and easy. The second, the man, the good. Article, head noun, article, adjective. You see in the first and the second, the article immediately precedes the adjective. The only difference is in the second, there's 2 articles. But in both, there is an article right before the adjective. And then the third attributive position, head noun, article, adjective. Anthropos o agathos. So this is literally man the good, but you would translate this as the good man. Same thing with the second. It's literally the man the good, but you would translate it as the good man. So those are the 3 attributive positions. Again, if the article is present, it must precede the adjective in order for it to be an attributive adjective. You won't find article, adjective, article, noun. Okay, so you don't need to worry about it. First, second, or third, those are what you're going to find. Now, if the article is not present at all, well, it could still be attributive. The adjective can be either in front or behind the head noun. Okay, so word order matters, except that it doesn't. So it's just in special cases that it does matter, like in the first, second, and third attributive positions. But that's when there's an article. So when no article is present, it can go before or behind the head noun. Now keep in mind, it could also be predicate adjective, or in some rare instances, substantival, when there is no article present. When it comes to substantival, remember, this is an adjective functioning like a noun. It stands apart. It doesn't tie to any other noun. And an example could be, a blanket reference to the righteous. So its case is determined by its function in the sentence, just like any regular noun, because it's functioning just like a noun. There is no noun present. That's how you know it's substantival, and it generally has the article, but sometimes it's inarthrous, which again means inarticulate, which is another way of saying there's no article. Yeah. Why do we have so many different terms for the same thing? I don't know. I didn't make the language and I didn't write the grammar. Sorry. Now, in terms of predicate adjective, this is where the adjective agrees with the word it predicates, which is to say it's an adjective in the object place in the sentence. It will agree in case, number, and gender. The head noun can have the article in front of it, but the adjective never has an article. Never. Okay? So follow the flowchart. That'll really help you decipher between predicate, substantival, and attributive. Now, keep in mind this caveat. You can have a singular verb with a neuter plural noun. When this occurs, Greek is basically saying the collective of neuter plural is a singular subject. Okay? The collective neuter plural is a singular subject. It's taken as a community, as a whole. So it indicates the author is viewing the plural subject not as a collection of different things, but as a single group. So the example here, ta agatha nevmata estin ektu theou. The good spirits are from God. So it's a singular verb, estin. That's third singular. But we've got plural, ta pneumata, neuter plural. So the good spirits are from God. The spirits here, in this case, are a collective whole. It's a single group. So I like to think of it in terms of community. It's the community. Community in that case being singular, but we know it's plural because of the case endings. And that is it. So we've gone over nouns in second and first declension. We've gone over basic alphabet, case structure. We've gone over phrases, prepositions. We've gone over some of the basics of eİmί. We've gone over adjectives. We are learning a lot. It's important that you read first, review second, practice third. Okay? So make sure you're doing that. Go into the workbook. You can find the answer key online through billmounce.com. And make sure you're practicing. Highlight the nouns. Don't stop doing that. It's a really good practice to help you identify when you're dealing with nominative, accusative, genitive, dative. Okay? Look for the stock features of each of these case endings. Again, these are 212 case endings. So we will get to the third declension later, but it is coming. But for now, really focus on the adjectives. Look for the attributive. Look for the substantival. Look for the predicate. You can use that flow chart that I provided you. You could take a screenshot or something of it and use that. Or make your own, have some fun with it. Learning should be fun and interactive. If you're not creating posters, you're doing it wrong. Create posters, have fun, do wallpaper, any sort of helpful resources that are going to help it stick. You should be doing it. It's just not going to be the same for everybody. So what may have worked for me might not work for you. You need to be creative for yourself. So hey, hit the subscribe button over here somewhere in the corner. And stick around. We'll be diving in next week for our 5th lecture. This is a 30-week series. It's more like 27. So we're almost already 1/5 of the way done, which is interesting and cool. Don't forget, after you subscribe, check out the Greek word of the day. You can build your vocabulary a little bit each day. You only need to learn about 300, 350 words, and that'll help you read 75% of the New Testament. Plus, you supplement that with what you're learning here in the Greek lectures, and you'll be able to do some good translation work in the New Testament. And that's exciting. It allows you to be able to read the Bible in a fresh, new way that you just don't get in English. And that's why we're here. So if you want to be able to translate or interpret or just get more familiar with and more intimate with the Bible, this is a great way to do it. Hey, it's free. But if you want to, if you're like, man, I really want to support James and what he's doing, I appreciate what he's doing, you have the option to provide some support. Why the font is so messed up, I don't know. What happens if I advance forward and come back? No, it's still messed up. I don't know why. I don't know. yeah, I don't know. You can support me. There's a link down below, streamlabs.com, I think, /Phonavone1, and you can provide support that way. It would be appreciated. It's not required. This is a free resource, so if you want to, great. You have the option. I think there are face masks, so if you watch this stream live and you do one of the face masks, it'll actually put it over my screen or over my face in real time, and it could be fun. So yeah, there you go. That's it. Be here next week for lecture 5 again with the fonts. I don't understand why. It looks fine in my regular keynote, but then when I go live, it does this. I don't know why. Frustrating. But anyways, actually, it doesn't look too bad. Well, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. And hey, I'm gonna be on a stream later doing my mixer. I'm in a PUBG tournament this afternoon, duos with my friend Inscribe, and then I'll be streaming again on Monday for a different tournament, PUBG tournament. So if you want to come hang out and watch what that is all about, mixer.com/Phonavone, you can do so. Phonavone is Greek for Slayer, which Slayer was the game type that got me hooked on gaming in Halo back in the day. So naturally, being a Greek geek, I just had to jump on that name opportunity, but I digress. So come hang out if you want. I'll be starting my stream today at 12 o'clock, and then I'll stop off at 4 Pacific, and then the tournament is tonight at 6 o'clock, so I'll be streaming that as well, and should be fun. That's it. You all take care. I hope you're enjoying the Greek lecture series, but make sure you're doing the reading first, follow up with the lecture second, and then do the workbook. Really solidify the concepts and help it stick. All right? If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can drop me a line in the chat. I think my email address is somewhere in the About section, so you can email me as well. And I'd be more than happy to interact with you and answer questions you have for Greek. Although the best way would be to come to the stream, 9 a.m. Pacific Saturdays. Although next Saturday will be my last one. On Saturday for a good 90 days due to a change in work schedule. So I'll be moving it to Friday. So next week on Saturday will be my last one for a while. And then, at least on Saturdays, I'll move it to the Friday following for about 12 weeks or so. So be on the lookout for that. But otherwise, we'll see you next week, 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll see you on the line for the Greek word of the day. We'll see you on the line for the tournaments and the mixer streams. And y'all take care. Bye-bye.